What's going on, Fourth and Five? I'm Josh Throne, and you are watching your Friday scouting report leading up to the big matchup between Ole Miss and the University of Arkansas Razorbacks tomorrow, 6 p.m. in Oxford, Mississippi. Now, DJ and I are going to be down there, so make sure you tune in to our pregame show about 2 hours before kickoff, roughly around 4 o'clock. If you'll just go ahead, like, and subscribe to our channel, you'll get a notification when we go live. But we're going to be bringing in more insights from Grant with the offensive line, Grant Cook with Let Grant Cook. We're also going to be bringing in Matt Harris with some defensive insights as well. But before we get to tomorrow and we get to the game, we've got a scouting report so that you have everything that you need to know going into this game about this matchup. Before we hop into it, let me just say this. Later on tonight, DJ will be going live on our channel at 5:45 for the high school game of the week. He'll be out there in Greenbrier. There's a running back that's had 2,000 yards last season, and he's been rushing for over 200 yards per game this season. So DJ wanted to go out there and see what this kid was all about. A little bit undersized, but maybe Reggie Fish. Maybe he's a SEC player. We don't know. We'll see. So let's get into this matchup this week because we're coming off of a 63-31 blowout last year. It's like Lane Kiffin was coming for Sam Pittman's job, even though he could have been here, right? He didn't want it that bad, but it seemed like he was coming for his job last season. And you know what? Travis Williams has got a bad taste in his mouth as well. Now the Arkansas defense is going to have something to prove because when you let a team put up 700 yards on you at your house, that's probably going to linger into next season. So we are expecting to see Arkansas's defense really take a big step forward in their first SEC game. Now, look, both of these teams are 2-0. Ole Miss actually played their first SEC game last week. They played against Kentucky. It was an ugly game. I called DJ and said, "Hey, look, I'm halfway through the first quarter and we have a chance." I'll talk about a little bit more of why I think we have a chance here in a second when we dive into some film. But 30-23, Kentucky almost had a win. They definitely came down to I don't know the second half before Ole Miss really started making it look like they were a superior team. In the first quarter, though, lots and lots of question marks, and I think it exposed a few things that we'll take a look at how Arkansas can win this game. Little bit of history for you, though. We Arkansas leads this series against Ole Miss 37-31, and they've tied one time all time. Right now, Ole Miss has won 6 out of the last 10. Which or wait, 6 out of the last 10 have been, decided by a touchdown or less, but Ole Miss has actually won the last 2. We won in 2022, I believe. But man, Ole Miss has had our number for a little bit. And so what's to expect in this game on Saturday? Well, Lane Kiffin's gonna be running a high-powered, high-tempo offense. Let's get up on the ball, let's run another play, and let's do it quick. A lot of misdirection, a lot of guys in motion pre-snap. Arkansas defense is going to have to be sharp and be disciplined. Penalties can be a game changer. We all know that. Last year, we were having problems with penalties. So far, we've been pretty decent, pretty clean on the offensive side of the ball or defensive side of the ball. We need to remain that way. But they will be fast paced, putting the ball out into the flats a lot to the wide receivers. They just like to get the ball to their wide receiver, especially with a young quarterback who they don't trust too much right now. We'll get into that here in a second. But heavy use of quick screens and letting those wide receivers get yards after the catch. So defensive backs, Arkansas, guess what? You're going to have to tackle. You're going to be in a lot of one-on-one situations. We've already had some issues tackling in these one-on-one situations with some lesser teams. So I want to make sure that we get that tidied up before we go into Ole Miss tomorrow. Their goal is going to be to wear our defense down and force assignment errors. That's what they're banking on, is that we start thinking too much, overthinking, or they're moving too fast and we can't think, and they can execute on that. They will lull you to sleep with the RPO, and then they will take a big shot. They are always capable of scoring a touchdown. 4th and 1 against Kentucky, you'd think they're punting it because the game has not been going their way. And what do? They go deep, 55-yard bomb. Wide receiver Wallace gets tackled on the 1-yard line, changes the trajectory of the game. But that's Ole Miss. That's what they can do. Now, Jackson Dart is gone. They have a new quarterback, Austin Simmons. He's a young guy, 19 years old, first year starting in the SEC. I think he's a freshman against Kentucky. Let's talk about that. 13 of 24, 235 yards, and 2 interceptions. Could have been 3 interceptions. Honestly, could have been probably 4 interceptions that he was playing so bad early on. I was calling DJ going, look, we have a chance. This is not the Ole Miss that we saw last year. And we'll get into a little bit about why I think that. We'll talk about some offensive key players as well. So let's go ahead and dive into some film real quick and bring this up on the screen. First play, beginning of the first quarter. Again, remember, I'm showing a lot of first quarter stuff because this is what allowed me to see that this is not the same Ole Miss team. Like this is transfer culture now. Okay, there's a lot of now. Ole Miss had a lot of guys on the defensive side of the ball that went to the NFL, but on the offensive side of the ball, they had a few that did that. But look, three different starting receivers that are transfer guys, brand new quarterback. They're not in sync. The chemistry's not there yet, and so we're probably going to benefit from playing Ole Miss early in the season. Wide open receiver. I don't know what happened here, but here's what I can tell you: lots of protection for this guy, and yet he's still not making a great throw. I don't know if it was SEC jitters or what it was, but this is what you want. What else could you give to your 19-year-old freshman quarterback? Again, let's look at the protection again. This really was eye-opening when they ran the play. I love when we can get a view like this, but you know, perfect protection, big pocket, no pressure. You'd think, man, he's eyeing down where he needs to throw this ball. Perfect zone. 2 receivers in this open space. You've got a middle linebacker or a safety on the opposite side of the hash in the middle of the field who's going, oh, crap. I need to get over there. He doesn't let it go. I don't know why. But again, this is what just continued to give me confidence that this is not the same Ole Miss team. And the way that Arkansas has been playing, what we should see from an Arkansas year 2, we can compete with this team. What does Arkansas defense need to do? What have we been needing them to do all season? Get pressure on the quarterback. He's 19. He hasn't been playing very long. We can disrupt him very, very quickly, but we have to have our defensive line step up. And this is what happens when that does happen. He's just going to let that thing ride. This happened over and over and over in this Kentucky game. I'm sure Lane Kiffin was scratching his head at the end of the first quarter going, what are we going to do here this year? Because Jackson Dart ain't coming to save you. Let's take a look at the wide receiver at the bottom of the screen. 3rd down and 10. Now, what do you know as a receiver? I got to know where the sticks are. That's for sure, because I can't run a route that's shorter than the sticks. Quarterback, obviously, you know where the sticks are. So what are we going to do? We're going to make sure we run that route to the sticks, and we're going to put that ball in a place that only our receiver can get it on the outside, on the sideline. But does that happen? No. They're not paying attention to where they need to go. They're not paying attention to how they need to run this route. You want to press it past the sticks, come back to the ball. Ball needs to be there when you turn around. Play it on the sideline. You've got the DB's head already turned around. The ball should be out right now. He should be turning around at the sticks, and he doesn't. Incomplete pass. The ball's not where it should be. The receiver's not even past the sticks. The chemistry's messed up, and that's what you're seeing from Ole Miss right now. There's not a lot of chemistry between this quarterback and these receivers, which is benefiting Arkansas going into this game. Now, I'm sure they addressed this week. I'm sure they did, because it was the main takeaway for the offense. So here's what they will do, though. When you don't have a great experienced quarterback, you got a young guy out there, you're trying to build confidence early on in the season. What are you going to do? Let's just get the ball to wide receivers in space. Well, they have the type of wide receivers that if you get the ball to them in space, they can make big plays. So Arkansas defense, DBs, you're going to have to tackle in space. And there was multiple times in the 2 previous games where we had opportunities to tackle in space and we weren't wrapping up. We talked about that in some of our post game a couple weeks ago, but wrapping up and bringing these guys to the ground is something that can be new at the beginning of the season because you haven't been going full pads. You've been trying to prevent injury in camp, but hey, we're here. It's SEC play now, and this is what you got to do. Defensive pressure. Look what he does. Austin Simmons, not thinking well under pressure, putting the ball up there for anybody. So Arkansas Razorbacks have a chance to to take away to run away with this game. If you win the turnover battle in the SEC, guess what? You're winning the game. Again, I want to showcase these offensive linemen because they couldn't have been putting Austin Simmons in a better place. And I'm really showing this because I want people to see that there's a big drop off in quarterback talent right now at Ole Miss. Now, am I saying that this guy's ceiling is low? No. He's just first time in the SEC. This is his first game in the SEC. Can he progress? Can he get better? Absolutely, he can. But you couldn't ask for a better pocket. Lacy, their running back, stepping up and picking up a block. This is a quarterback's dream. Where's that going? I don't know. Again, I'm calling Matt Harris. I'm calling DJ. Guys, I think we misread this one. I think we can beat this team. Defensive pressure coming up the middle of the pocket. Again, let it ride. Arkansas DBs, you can be having a heyday. You should be watching this film thinking we can win this game. We can go into Ole Miss and win. Now, will we? Can we? Yes. Will we? I don't know. We'll see. This is the guy that they're relying on right now. They relied on him 28 times, over 130 yards rushing against Kentucky. Lacy, their running back, absolutely a beast. He's a workhorse. They are going to feed him in this RPO offense, and he's the guy that we're going to have to be worried about all game long. Defensive line, linebackers, he likes to bang. You better be ready to bang because he's legit, and he's the real deal. Played at Missouri, transfer from Missouri last year. Again, 28 carries, 138 yards, workhorse back. Another key playmaker on the offense is Harrison Wallace III. He's the guy that on 4th and 1 in the first quarter, I think, against Kentucky, went deep or caught a ball, yak yards, 55 yards down to the 1-yard line on a 4th and 1, and you're going Lane Kiffin. Like, I mean, you've already started off so bad. The first quarter, you would have thought Kentucky was going to win this game. You go for it on a 4th and 1. That's why Ole Miss is so hard to win because they never stop swinging for the fences, and they always believe that they can win. They've got another wide receiver, Deshaun Stribling, big body, 6'2", 200 pounds, great possession receiver. The whole wide receiving core is athletic and very dangerous after the catch. They had a lot of wide receivers go to the NFL. They've just replaced them with more athletic wide receivers, and that's what Ole Miss is going to do because a lot of people want to play in that Lane Kiffin offense. And it's easy to pick them up in this transfer world. So what about Ole Miss's defense? What do you need to know? Uh, uh, let's see. What's his name? Perkins. I don't know how to say his first name. Perkins. Suntarine. I can't remember how to say his first name. Suntarine Perkins. Suntarine. No, Suntarine Perkins. That's how you say his name. Suntarine. Suntarine Perkins, linebacker, edge rusher. He's been there for quite some time. He's a threat. He's always he's an all SEC type of guy. Zxavian Harris in the middle, 6'8", 320, defensive tackle, all SEC type of guy. Princewill, edge rusher. He's good. They lost a lot of defensive front to the NFL, and they have replaced them with more talent. And they've kept some guys, some guys like Perkins and Zxavian Harris on the as returning starters who are physical, who are aggressive, who will punish you. So what are we going to have to rely on? Taylen Green's legs more than ever. This is a game where Taylen Green's legs are needed. Now, you want Bobby Petrino's offense to work. You want to go through your progressions. But in a game like this, the X factor is going to be Taylen Green's legs. It's like Johnny Manziel versus Alabama. We're going to need Taylen Green to have one of those games. Just be special and have Ole Miss going, well, we can't scheme against that. So keys to the game, defensive keys. Defensive keys are going to have to match the tempo, that's for sure, because these guys are going to go, 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 go. Stay disciplined, be very smart pre-snap, watch for the motions. They're going to try to get you off sides. Penalties are going to be a huge thing. If we can be disciplined and not lose the penalty game here, we can actually stand a chance and win this. DBs are going to have to wrap up, like we talked about earlier, yards after the catch. If we can limit that on Ole Miss receivers, we'll be in a much better place. Force the quarterback, Austin Simmons, to throw that ball downfield and get pressure on him at the same time, because when he starts getting nervous, he just starts slinging that thing. And he could be thrown to anybody. Honestly, if you're sitting in the stands, you might catch one of his balls if we're getting a pressure on him. Offensive keys, offensive line is gonna have to at least slow down the Ole Miss defensive front. That's just the reality. They're really good. I don't expect our offensive line to beat them play after play, but if we can just push the brakes on them a little bit, slow them down and fight back, don't let Ole Miss go and have one of the best games of their year, against Arkansas. Let's let's put up a fight on the offensive line. You've got Taylen Green's legs to count on as well. But it is a game that I'm expecting to see a little bit more mobility out of Taylen. So protect the ball, offense. Don't lose the turnover battle. Ole Miss defense has not forced a lot of turnovers. If we can make sure that we protect that ball, always gives us better chance to win the game. But what are some of the X factors for Ole Miss? Well, Austin Simmons right now, their quarterback, has an ankle injury. We do not know how bad that really is. Could be bad, but I'll tell you what, with the way that he played healthy, if he has an ankle injury, it can affect his play even more. You got to put a lot of pressure on those ankles and a lot of power through the legs when throwing a ball. So there are wide receivers and quarterback already lack chemistry. It's already shown that if you get some pressure at him, he starts letting that ball just go. Um, and if he has an ankle injury, that can be an X factor this game as well because he is mobile. He's a mobile quarterback. He's not a Taylen Green, but he is mobile. So ankle injury will help us. Let's see here. Ole Miss, fourth down aggression. That is an X factor. Anytime there's a fourth down, you can't count them out. And if it's fourth and short, Lane Kiffin's going for it. Just bet on it. Ole Miss defensive line versus offensive line. Again, battle's going to be won in the trenches. That's going to be an X factor how that plays out. And so, guess what? It's a road test right now. Game is going to be at night in Oxford, so it's going to be loud. The crowd is loud. That's an X factor. You know, if our defense can't communicate properly and stay poised under those high pressure situations, we could be in for a rude awakening. Let's just say that. But this is a revenge game. It's the SEC opener for Arkansas. It's a tone setter for the rest of our season. This is a game that if Arkansas can come in, shock Ole Miss early, we're in the game for the rest of the game, and it's anybody's game. Will Arkansas be disciplined and have the toughness to flip the script in Oxford? I want to know what you guys think. Leave us a comment in our comment section. Tell us what your score predictions are. I don't have a score prediction for this game. I really don't. Typically, I would say that I do. I do think it's anybody's game, though. And I think that first quarter is going to tell us a lot. So like this video, subscribe to our channel. Make sure you stay tuned a little bit later on today at 5:45 for DJ's high school game of the week. And then join us tomorrow before our kickoff in Oxford, 2 hours before kickoff. Join us for our pregame show. We look forward to seeing you and thank you for watching 4th and 5.